For a couple of days now, I've been trying to capture on film the problem I've got with my bike. And I don't think it's as obvious on film as it is for me whilst I'm riding. And it's the brakes. I mean, high speed, heavy braking is fine. Emergency braking is fine. But when I'm travelling through slow moving traffic and I need to just feather the brakes to slow down, I get this pulsating feeling. Yeah, maybe that's the wrong choice of words. But what I mean is, I've got lumpy brakes at a very, very slow speed, and it's so subtle you can hardly tell, but I can feel it through the handlebars. Now, the obvious cause of this is a warped front disc, which means a replacement, and the opportunity for me to give the entire brake system a service. So off with the calipers, a little bit of paint, and some brand new discs. I've been commuting right the way through winter in some terrible weather, so I was really quite pleased with the condition of the brakes and couldn't see any signs of warping, so it wasn't that obvious. The rear brakes were in pretty good shape, having recently had new pads. However, I still wanted to service these and give the caliper a new coat of paint. There's no competition for spotting schoolboy errors during this. I'm not a mechanic, I just potter and share my experiences in case it helps somebody out there. But of course, what I should have done is loosen the banjo bolts before removing the calipers. Get that off. A quick inspection of the right hand caliper just before I remove it. I have had a retaining pin seize in the caliper on me. I had to destroy it to remove it. So now I carefully grease what I can. The pads seem as though they're in good shape, and they are quite new with only a few thousand miles on them. I was worried about the state of the pistons, because from a distance they did look as though they've corroded slightly. So I've bought all new replacement ones, front and back. Pumping the brake showed that there was inconsistency with the pistons, so they do need replacing. Always have the right tool for the job. And remember how difficult it is to undo a banjo bolt freehand. Be well prepared for mess, and remember this stuff is corrosive, so don't let it near any paintwork. I'm talking brake fluid, by the way. Finally, tape on a bottle to catch any excess fluid coming out of the pipes. So now we've got the left hand caliper. Oops, I've still got some fuel in there. Not fuel, brake fluid. This is the one where these weren't moving much and may have been the cause of what I thought was a warped disc, but it might just be these not working. Okay, let's do the easy bit first. To put a new one of them on, probably. If you remember on the other one, we just push that slightly. That comes off. Don't know if there's another. Ah, there we go. So it's not in bad nick actually. It's a bit tatty on the outside, but that's because I had to try and pull it out. So the seals, dust seals look okay. All the seals look okay actually. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If all the seals are okay and everything's clean, why did they start to fail? But they did. Right, so parts cleaned, ready to go into the sonic bath. But the Dremel has come up. I've rinsed these off a little bit. The Dremel's got most of the old paint and muck off. One sonic bath. A good 30 minutes. This is the result after the sonic bath. They've come up quite well. All the paint has come off, nice and clean, no grease on them. I've blanked off with bolts the main holes. I'm now about to blank off some of the other machined parts that don't want paint on them. Okay, so hopefully that is everything blanked off that doesn't want paint on it. Brake caliper, heat resistant paint, job done. Here we have the two old pistons from the calipers. This is the only one that you get from the rear brake, and this is one of the four that are in the front calipers. And I've bought some new ones. Nothing too surprising about the replacement for this. It is literally a bog standard replacement, but nice and shiny. Yeah, whereas this one is corroded. It was obviously causing a bit of a problem. Not too much on the back brakes, they were working, but that was going to get seriously bad. So we've got a new one, new seals, which is all fine and dandy. It's the replacement for these that I really want to show you. So these have come from a company. I'll put a link in the bottom so that you can have a look yourself. There we go. More seals. Okay, well they're just the seals, they're fine. So this place does replacement parts, various different parts, but all titanium, and that's what I want to have a look at today. Obviously being titanium, they're not going to corrode, and although these have done pretty well, I'm imagining these will be the last ones I ever replace, because the most I'm ever going to have to do is clean them. I hope. Now, a point to know, this company haven't asked me to do this. I bought these myself, so I'm not promoting them in any way. I'll leave that there. Let's have a look. They've got some sort of titanium coating on them as well, to protect the titanium that it's made out of. Oh wow, that's lighter. Yeah. Well, what can I say? Sexy. Now, being titanium, there's less heat dissipation as well, so there's going to be less heat transferred into the brake fluid, apparently. Now, for the kind of riding that I'm doing, I don't think this is going to make any difference whatsoever. But if you've got a super bike and you're taking it on the track, it might make a huge difference. To me, not much. I did want some for the rear. I got in touch with him, and bless him, I sent him, the chap who runs the place, an email on a Sunday evening, and he replied to me same evening, basically saying that he didn't have one the right size for this, but he's got one the right diameter, but it's too tall, and if he gets the chance he'll shorten it for me and let me know. But he says he's very busy and doesn't have the time to do it right away, but it would be nice. It does mean stripping down the brakes again, but it'd be nice to get all titanium right the way through instead of shiny steel. So the reason for doing this video in the start was because my brakes were causing me a problem. At slow speeds they were lumpy, and the more I used it, the more I noticed it. So I put it down to the discs. Now, as we've seen, I've stripped down the calipers, and they could have been causing the problem, I'm not sure, but I'm replacing the discs anyway. These were bought from an online company which is quite popular. I'm not going to name them because there's a bit of a story behind them not sending me the right parts, and then when I got in touch with them and asked them about the right parts, they gave me a bit of the runaround, but eventually I got them. They're a company that rhymes with rice and pea, and their customer service isn't very good. However, I have them now. So, they had sets for about £150. These were the cheapest I could find, a £99 set. Now, I know you shouldn't cut corners with brakes, but in the times that we're in, with bills about to go up, I've got to cut corners. So these are the original set that I had. Let's just make sure the holes are in the right place. Yeah, they are. Okay. Original set, as you can see, there's some terrible uneven wear. These are really, really bad. But if we compare them, yeah, wow. Now, these aren't the set that are just about to come off the bike. We will do a comparison with them in a bit. These are just a set that came off years ago. Okay, so now the wheel's off, I'm going to take the disc off, and that gives us a chance to check it and compare it to the new ones. Hey. Yeah, so a bit thinner. once we've got this on, I'll have another look at these ones that we've taken off and see whether or not they are warped, whether or not they're consistent. So that's on Newton meters, that's what, 25? What is it saying? 27. So that's the first one on. Right, let's get the next one on. Don't know if I've got a dead flat surface to see whether or not these are warped. We'll have a go anyway. In the right direction. Where's the arrow? There. Okay, so now we have some beautifully painted calipers, all nice and dry, all nice and clean, and ready to be put back together. Okay, so we have the right hand caliper. I'm going to put these in first. Let's just lubricate all our bits and pieces in brake fluid. Trying not to get it on the paint job. Now, oomph. That does look nice, doesn't it? Gold and black. So next is this baby. We need our rubber bits. So out comes the grease. Getting fingers dirty. So they're going to slide in and out of there, and because that's rubber grease, I'm going to put rubber grease on here, but this is metal to metal, so I'm going to put some copperies on this side. This is copperies from a can I've had for 30 years. Ooh, nearly forgot something. of copperies just to stop it from corroding. Obviously I don't want any of this flicking off and touching the brakes, so it is just a light touch. Should have put this on before. Goes on there. Now that's going to go through here. And in. Now we need to rotate this until we see the hole for the retaining pin. Just there. Someone's having fun. Bit of a leak. So, my brake bleeding kit. One pump, one brake fluid tester, one set of tubes. To the brakes. I've had mixed results with this vacuum system, so what I generally do now is I use it to bring through the fluid and fill the system with brake fluid, but then I go back to the bog standard old-fashioned way of bleeding brakes just to make sure that there's no air in the system. We're going to head up to a quiet patch of road nearby where we can start bedding in the brakes. The purpose of this is to marry up the discs and the pads together so that when you brake, the entire surface area of the pads press against the disc, nice and flat. I'm braking for the first time at this junction and there's nothing there at all. The front brake is hardly stopping me, it's all on the rear brake. This little stretch of road is less than a mile away from my house. It's a dead end but a nice straight piece that's hardly used, so it's safe to do some braking and accelerating. I'm going to take the bike up to 30 miles an hour and then brake down to 5 miles an hour, get back up to 30 again and then brake down to 5, never stopping. I'm going to do that for a good mile and a half if I can. Now that's done, I'm going to repeat the process, but I'm going to go up to 40 now, go a little bit faster and keep doing that for another mile and a half. I want to do the same but at 50 miles an hour now, and the stretch of road I'm on is starting to get a little bit dodgy because there's loads of dog walkers there and it's probably not safe to do it around them. So I'm going to take it to another stretch of road which is a bit more busier. But I'll be able to get it up to 50 and do some braking. So I've done 6 miles so far and I'm going to pull over and just see what 6 miles has done, bearing in mind that they recommend 200 miles before your brakes are fully bedded in. And they're already feeling a lot better than they were when I pulled up at that junction and there was nothing there. I can see where the pads are making contact and there's only about 15 mil of contact there, so there's a lot more miles to go. As I said, 200 miles probably before they're properly done in. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now that we're slowly coming out of lockdown, I'm hoping to get a few more videos out this year compared to last year where we didn't manage to travel anywhere. So thanks for watching and ride safe guys.